We will open as usual with prayers, and I would like to call Chaplain Marg Battox to lead us in a prayer. Thank you, Marg.
Let's just bow our heads, shall we? God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunities to serve the people of our districts. We pray for those whose terms of office has come to a completion, and we thank you for their service and dedication. And we pray for those who have taken up the role of leadership on their district council. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Amen.
Well, let's get the meeting underway, if we may. Item number 1, and you do have the running order in front of you, is the election of the new chairman. Before you on the cream paper is a copy of the order of proceedings that we will follow. I would like to let you know that in the nature of this particular meeting, there may be some quite protracted delays because you have to do some formalities such as the handing over of the chains of office and so on. So you will have to bear with that, as it were. But the procedure that we follow is indeed the one which is set out before you. Now, before I carry out the election of the new chairman, I believe I'm entitled to my parting speech, so to say. And I have prepared a few notes which I would like to address you with. I have to say, and I think most retiring chairmen would say this, the experience of being chairman for a year is a considerable privilege. I would also say that my consort, my wife, Kirsten, who some of you know, perhaps has enjoyed it in some ways more than I have. She does like a good gossip, and it does provide ample opportunity for that, I would have to say. Most of you will realize that I'm rather proud of my wife because I believe that among our friends, she is both liked and respected. And in terms of the things that count as a success in life, I think that's a very important one. And I'm grateful to her for that. I also will be mentioning later Lindsay, the chairman's secretary, who has done a stunningly good job this year. But I'll say more about that later as the proceedings go ahead. I've also had a wonderful letter from Gavin Williamson, beautifully written, and he added to the letter a wee handwritten script at the bottom, in which he made very generous references in his own handwriting to how much he's enjoyed sharing the year, the events in particular, with me. Almost by way of outlining, I have had an incredibly fortunate year in terms of things that have been going on, which I didn't have to, they just happened. For example, I had the immense privilege of inheriting the UK Council of the Year 2022. And we should all be immensely proud of that. I may say more about that in due time. In addition, we had the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. And I had the privilege of taking part, a major role in the opening of this extended and improved building, the so-called Console Hub. And during that process, by sheer coincidence, we had the Queen's baton turn up only for a few minutes. You don't get much time. And in addition, we unveiled the memorial to the late Brian Edwards. It's almost impossible to speak to any longish-standing councillor who will not at some point say good things about Brian Edwards. An outstanding man, without question. Then came, sadly, the death of our Queen. And again, I had the privilege, if that's the correct word, of being the first to sign the Council's Book of Condolences. And finally, I've even managed to include within my period of chairmanship the coronation of King Charles. Quite a year, and I'm immensely grateful. I went through the diary and did a rough and ready what went on part of my civic year. 45 or more events. I'm not sure I captured all of them. 14 of these, and I think that figure is correct, were civic dinners and civic balls. So, you know, the slap-up meal and an entertainer or whatever, wonderful formal events. And then there were other fundraising events, including, for example, carol concerts, entertainments, quiz nights, fashion shows, award ceremonies, including that for Dan Kinsey, Councillor Kinsey, when he was awarded his, hello Dan, his British Empire Medal. Also, we attended 3 remembrance events at the Cannock Chase military cemeteries. Now, I'm now going to turn to the question of the charities. Most of these civic events, you would understand, are indeed for the purpose of raising funds for charities, and each civic head appoints their chosen charity for their civic year. And most of you must be aware that I chose both Cancer Research UK and Macmillan Cancer Support. And they will share the collected money equally between them, which is entirely reasonable, and we'll get to that in just a moment. I want to tell you how much money we raised. It's quite a good number. It's £6,691.28. Where on earth the 28 pence came from, I have just no idea. I will not accuse anyone. In any event, we now come to the stage in the evening where I would like to call forward the representative of Macmillan Cancer Support to be presented with the cheque. You will notice when these, you know, these formal, enormous cheques which we present, you will notice on the cheques, Cancer Research UK gets slightly less money, £130, less than Macmillan Cancer Support. This is because some of the people who donated to the charity, when they knew it was Cancer Research UK, they made their donation directly rather than via our fund. So I've had to make that adjustment, or at least Lindsay had to make that adjustment to take account of that slight anomaly. Okay, Lindsay, are we ready? If I could call Pauline Lewis of Macmillan Cancer Support. Pauline, are you with us? Yes, please. Could you come forward to the front? Thank you very much. Well, as you will be aware, I didn't stand for election to the council on this occasion, so this is very much my parting shot. And some time ago, I reached the conclusion that there really wasn't a place for me here. And so I'm bidding farewell, one and all, the pre-existing members and the new ones. And I just want to say how very grateful I am to both the members and the officers for, as I mentioned earlier, making this council Council of the Year 2022. It's a joint effort and it's been a huge success. And you, as a successor, from my point of view, have an immense responsibility to keep up the good work. And in particular on this occasion, I would like to mention our corporate leadership team, because I think they are perhaps the pivotal element in the excellence of this council. And of course, obviously, our esteemed Chief Executive Officer, Dave Haywood, who has steered this ship unerringly. Thank you very much. I mentioned earlier the Chairman's Secretary, Lindsay. Sorry, I mean, we're doing little nodding things to make sure we coordinate. I'd obviously like to give her a very much a token gift in recognition of all the effort and work she put in. It has been seamless, it has been flawless. She does the job with true excellence, and she deserves a big round of applause just soon. One moment. Thank you very much. Lindsay does have a Scottish theme. We now get to item B on the running list, and I must now ask for nominations for the office of Chairman of the Council for the municipal year 2023 to 24. Councillor.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you for doing such an excellent job. Do you want me to sit down or stand up? I'll sit down. I don't mind whichever way. Thank you for doing such an excellent job, you and Kirsten together. And I wish you a happy retirement. Thank you. I'd like to propose Councillor Megan Barrow as Chairman of South Staffordshire District Council for the ensuing year of 23-24. Meg has lived in Codsall for over 30 years and more, having spent most of her working life in social care and health. She has a very supportive husband, 3 children, 9 grandchildren and a great-granddaughter. I've known Meg for a number of years, both as a parish councillor and as a South Staffordshire District Councillor, which she has served for the past 8 years. Meg has served on a number of committees and has always held the interests of the residents of South Staffordshire at the forefront of any decisions made. She has held the position of Chairman 3 times on Codsall Parish Council and has been Vice Chairman of South Staffordshire District Council for the past 12 months, supporting the current Chairman, who's now retired, Councillor Chairman Matt Hewitt and Kirsten, his consort, who I have said before have done an excellent job. I've always found Megan very honest and trustworthy colleague and passionate about South Staffordshire, and I'm delighted to propose Megan Barrow as Chairman. I know that with the support of her husband, she will be a very great ambassador for South Staffordshire. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Kinsey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and also congratulations on the completion of your civic year. And of course, we're sorry to lose you both. It's been lovely getting to know you over the last 4 years. Mr. Chairman, you've just had a proposal for Councillor Barrow. Over the last 4 years, I have got to know Councillor Barrow more and more as time has gone on. She's a kind-hearted, hard-working, diligent and enthusiastic member of this council. You will know yourself, Chairman, through practice, that these are the kinds of qualities that are required of somebody representing this district. Now, Councillor Barrow is extremely passionate about what she does, both for Codsall, where she is an elected member, that is her ward, but also for South Staffordshire. I couldn't think of somebody at this particular point in time more worthy of taking up this office and representing this district for the next year. So I would like to second Councillor Barrow, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kinsey. I now address the group, the meeting. Is it your wish that Councillor Meg Barrow be the chairman of the council? All those in favour, please raise your hands. Thank you very much. Those against, can I have a show of hands, please? On the other hand, do we have any abstentions? So the nomination is carried, the proposal is carried, and I can confirm on that basis that Councillor Meg Barrow is now the chairman of the council for the municipal year 2023 to 2024. We will now formally invest the chairman with the chain of office.
I, Meg Barrow, having been elected to the office of Chairman of the Council, the District of South Staffordshire, hereby declare that I take office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of the office according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to be guided in the performance of my functions in that office by the Code of Conduct for Councillors adopted by South Staffordshire Council. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you all the old familiar faces. I'll take the word old off. I meant in time, not in age. It's a very happy time, but also a very sad time, because there's a lot of good friends who are leaving us to retire and or for varying reasons. But just we've made some good friends over the years, and it's lovely to see you all. Thank you. I'm told I have to tell you a bit about myself. I was told 500 words. Now, when you get to my age, how can you put it all in 500 words? Okay, here. Meg, as I am usually known, I grew up in Woodsetton, in Dudley, with my mother, father, and 4 siblings. I was the eldest of the siblings, and we're all spread out. We always say my mother knew the milkman very well because there's so much difference between us. Telephone answering. We always kept the front room in our house for his visitors. We didn't have computers in those days, so if people wanted to see you, they had to come and knock on the door. I attended Tipton Grammar School after passing my 11 plus, and I was there for 5 years, and then worked in local business. I moved into South Staffordshire, first of all into Swindon, Rogers area, when I married in 1966. A good year this was, 66. We won the World Cup. As you can hear, I'm quite a football fan, and whether it's good or bad, I do support the Wolves. My children were born before I moved to Wombourne in 1970, where they grew up and all attended Hounsdale School. I started my helping career by being a lollipop lady, as this fitted nicely with taking my children backwards and forwards to school. At that time, I also rode my bike as well. I started working for social services in the late 1970s and progressed and trained. Believe me, I have experienced many changes in that field, some good, some bad. Red tape still just the same. I moved here to Cotsall Social Services at the end of 1989 from the Dudley Authority. I worked here in Cotsall for 27 years. I remember very closely, the first month after I got here, I hated it. I was never going to stay. I was going back to Dudley. But 27 years later, I wouldn't have left it for the world. My retirement took place 7 years ago. Well, I'm saying my retirement. I just changed jobs, that's all. It certainly wasn't a retirement. But I loved every minute of my profession. Some good, some bad, but again, good fellowship with everyone I worked with. I moved to live in Cotsall in 1995 because I thought, having worked here for 5 or 6 years, I came to realise what a lovely place it was to live, and I certainly never looked back. Working with the community is my aim in life, and I get tremendous pleasure from seeing people happy and safe. I have covered all aspects of life in my career, from learning disabilities. This gives me great pleasure because lots of the people who live in our area, in Cotsall particularly, with learning disabilities and in Wombourne, I help to bring them out into the community. And that really gives me a real pleasure of satisfaction. I'm so proud of them. And I did end-of-life care as well, so and older people and just about everything. So I feel I'm a jack of all trades, really. Mind you, I don't know whether I'm allowed to say that anymore. Perhaps it's a Jane of all trades, is it? As has been stated, I have 9 grandchildren and 1 gorgeous great-granddaughter. They're absolutely superb. I love them to bits, but they keep me very happy, but they also keep me poor. I've never bought so many pairs of shoes in my life, even for me. I am very involved in most things that are taking place here in Cotsall. My achievement being involved in the go-to place, which is one of the last things that we've started here, where people get together for varying reasons, both for mental health, loneliness, as well as some of the issues of not being able to afford their own heating. The nice thing about this group as well, it's supported by the church, the parish council, and all the local businesses. This is truly a working together initiative. I will do my best to serve and represent this council, bringing warmth and fellowship, as well as hard work wherever I go. Thank you all for electing me. I will continue to do my best for this very wonderful, successful council, who I am very proud of representing. Thank you all very much. Right. Okay, we will now invest the chairman's consort with a chain of office. Right. Present, yeah. Next task is to present the retiring chairman and his consort the past chairman's badges. Okay.
So much. And you too. And
Thank you.
sorry, can I just? Right, we now turn to the election. Oh, I've forgotten one of the most important things. There's a little present in here. As is the usual practice, the councillors here have all made a contribution, or from choice, of course, made it, it wasn't compulsory, have decided to make a contribution to Matt and Kirsten for all the good work that they've done over the year. I know they've worked very hard, even though they tell me they've thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd just like to give this small gift to them and hope when Matt and Kirsten are both sitting by their caravan in France, they think of us. Count on it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I'm checking it.
Take this with me.
Item 2, we now turn to election of the Vice Chairman. Can I now ask for nominations for the office of Vice Chairman for the municipal year 2023 to 24? Thank you, Councillor Evans.
Madam Chair, officers, fellow members, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honour for me to propose Vice Chair of this council, Councillor Daniel Mark Kinsey. He's been a member of this council for 4 years, during which time he's shown himself to be a man of integrity, very hard-working. He's very intelligent. He's a lecturer at Wolverhampton University. And he's a very, very articulate speaker. We just heard a little bit of that. But during the last 12 months, we've heard him speak, well, the last 4 years, we've heard him speak many, many times. I've known him as 3 years as the Woodman Parish Councillor, during which time he led the village and the council through the COVID pandemic and was awarded the British Empire Medal. His capacity for hard work and the passion he brings to that brought to that role borders on insanity. He brings a passion to everything he does. Just a couple of bad bits. He's a cricket fan, and he loves 1970s glam rock. But despite that, I suspect he will be a wonderful chairman. He will be a credit to this council, and I commend him to you, Madam Chair.
Do we have a seconder?
A very hard-working and dedicated councillor, an absolute inspiration to all who've met him and worked with him. Certainly, I've known Councillor Kinsey for the past 2 years, and has been a real inspiration for me and mentor, I would say, over the past 2 years in all of the things and all of the time that he puts into the local community. An inspiration to all who would meet him, and would be a great ambassador for South Staffs. Thank you.
Is it your wish that Councillor Dan Kinsey be the Vice Chairman of Council? All those in favour, can you raise your hands? Thank you. Those against? Are there any abstentions? I confirm that Councillor Dan Kinsey is Vice Chairman of the Council. Can I invite Councillor Kinsey to join me and receive the badge of office? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chairman, for that very warm welcome and everybody present this evening. It's amazing to see such a full council chamber. We're positively bursting at the seams. Chairman, you know very well that I've been a member of this council for 4 years, and by now I think I've just got about an idea of where everything is. I don't walk into broom closets and things like that anymore. I think I've just about got my feet under the table. I do recognise so many faces around the room, all of whom have been very lovely to work with over the previous 4 years, whether whether you're on the same political side or not. It's a very collaborative council. You'll find that it's a great atmosphere. And if you've got any questions, there are people around there to help, and I will certainly be doing my bit for those new members that I see around the chamber. Chairman, all I can say is that I will commit to diligently and dutifully serve you as your vice chairman for the next year. You have heard from my proposer and seconder that I do agree, I do recognise what Councillor Evans said about a work ethic that does slightly border on the insane on occasion. So if nothing else, I do hope to bring that to support you in your year and wish you all the best for your year. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Dan. Right, item 3, the minutes. Is it your wish that I confirm and sign the minutes of the council meeting held on the 21st of March as a true and accurate record of that meeting? Item 4, apologies. Are there any apologies, Mr. Haywood?
Just one, Madam Chairman. Apologies from Councillor Bond.
Thank you. Item 5 in your paperwork, declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest this evening? Don't think so. Thank you. Item 6, election of leader of the council. We now turn to the election of the leader of the council. This is to be carried out in accordance with Council Procedure Rule 3 as a roll call of council. Do we have a proposal with a proposer and a seconder?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. May I first of all congratulate you on your appointment and hope you have a happy, successful year. It's my pleasure now to propose as our leader, Councillor Roger Lees. Roger Lees, I've worked with for some years now, and I found him a very straightforward and helpful man who has helped us get through some of the difficult times that we've experienced over the last few years. And I'm sure he's the right one for the future years that we face some of the more and upcoming difficulties. So it's with pleasure, Madam Chairman, that I propose Councillor Roger Lees. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. Do we have a seconder?
Thank you, Chairman. Congratulations on your appointment and to the Vice Chairman as well. And I'd like to second Councillor Roger Lees and reserve my right to speak.
So can I now pass over to Mrs. Fowkes to carry out the named vote?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So, as usual, members, I will go through and ask you each in turn if you're voting for, against or abstaining for the proposal of Councillor Roger Lees as leader of the council. So, Councillor Andy Adams, Councillor Helen Adams, Councillor Penny Allen, Councillor Jeff Ashley, Councillor Meg Barrow, Councillor Brindle, Councillor Burnett, Councillor Chapman, Councillor Cope, Councillor Mike Davis, Councillor Phil Davis, Councillor Dufty, Councillor Robert Duncan, Councillor Susan Duncan, Councillor Christopher Evans, Councillor Mark Evans, Councillor Fisher, Councillor Harper Wallace, Councillor Harrison,
Abstain.
Councillor Heseltine, Councillor Holmes is not here, is she? Councillor Hopkins, Councillor Jackson, Councillor Kelly, Councillor Kinsey, Councillor Lees, Councillor Merrick, Councillor Michelle, Councillor Nelson, Councillor Kath Perry, Councillor Martin Perry, Councillor Ray Perry, Councillor Reid, Councillor Spruce, Councillor Steele, Councillor Sutton, Councillor Zalopsky, Councillor Bernard Williams, Councillor David Williams, Councillor Kath Williams, and Councillor Wilson.
The motion is carried. Councillor Lees is the leader of the council.
Madam Chairman, can I just thank everybody for their continued support? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lees. It's a pleasure to be working with you. Item 7. We now turn to notification by the leader, Roger Lees, of the councillors appointed to the cabinet. Can I pass over to the leader of the council to notify the council of the members of the cabinet for the municipal year 2023 to 2024, and the member appointed as duty leader for the municipal year 2023 to 2024.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. May I too thank the outgoing chairman and welcome the 17 new members to this excellent, well-performing financial secure council. And I look forward to working with you all over the next 4 years. I'd also like to welcome the retired members, or the ones that have stood down this time, that I can see sitting at the back. Welcome as well. The last 2 years have been incredibly challenging, but we successfully navigated our way through them, achieving numerous accolades on the way, including Council of the Year and an enviable peer review. So I am not going to change the course of a steady ship unless forced to. My cabinet are: Business and Enterprise will be Victoria Wilson, Community Services will be Kath Perry, Corporate Services I will deal with, Councillor Roger Lees, Digital Technology and Service Transformation will be David Williams, Regulatory Services will be Rita Heseltine, and Welfare Services will be Robert Reid. My Deputy Leader will be Victoria Wilson. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Item 8, annual review of the constitution of the council. Can I now pass to the monitoring officer to present her report on the constitution? Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So members, this is the usual report on the Constitution. As members will know, we adopt this on an annual basis. So there are a number of proposed changes as set out in the report and the various appendices. A summary of those changes can be seen at paragraph 3.2 of your report. But going through them in a little more detail, the first change is around committee membership. As members will be aware, we underwent a local government boundary review in 2021 into 2022. That resulted in the number of members being reduced from 49 to 42. To reflect that reduction in overall membership, it's proposed that a number of committees have reduced membership. So firstly, Standards and Resources is reduced from 14 to 12 members. Wellbeing Select is reduced from the current 15 down to 12 plus the county lead. And finally, the Discretionary Housing Payment Scheme panel is reduced from 9 members to 8. So not a significant number of reductions there, but a proportionate approach, so it's not too significant a call on each member's time with a large number of seats on committees. The next proposal is around planning committee membership. Again, members will be aware that the current constitution sets out a locality split for the membership of planning committee. That was established a few years ago. What we found with experience really is imposing such a rigid split can cause some difficulties whilst achieving political balance, but also it can have unintended consequences that we may not get the people that want to go on the committee because they're not in the right locality if we have that rigid split. So what we're proposing is a more flexible approach. We will still seek to ensure that there is a balance of members from across the district, but not being adhered to that strict locality split. Ultimately, that membership, as we'll come on to shortly, is a matter for this council to approve anyway. Moving on then to responsibility for functions, as set out in the Appendix 1 to the report, there are proposed amendments to the planning functions exercised by officers. Again, paragraph 3.6 of the report summarises these. Not significant changes, a lot of them are for clarification. So, for example, clarifying that the existing delegation includes the issue of planning contravention notices, dealing with advertising matters, and clarification around the West Midland interchange applications. Also clarifying that the existing powers extend to the government's First Homes programme. There's a slight clarification in respect of the calling process for planning applications being called into planning committee, and some minor wording of delegation to approve minor wording to planning conditions following a committee decision, but that would be subject to the previously agreed consultation with the member proposing the motion, which was agreed last year, I think, at this meeting. Paragraph 3.7 of your report details the changes around challenge panels. Members will be aware that we've had a challenge panel process in place for a number of years. With the new council, it seems an opportune time to refresh our approach to scrutiny that we undertake via those challenge panels. Previously, we set those panels, 3 panels, set at the AGM, and the topics not picked until later in the year. That meant a member may be on, could be seen as the wrong panel. So again, we're proposing a more flexible approach to membership of those panels, allowing a degree of self-selection by members if they are particularly interested in a topic that is chosen. And also not necessarily sticking to the 3 panels per annum. It will be what best suits the needs of members to scrutinise those topics that are chosen. Along with this will be a renaming of the challenge panels to member working groups. Again, kind of moving away from the fact that they're not necessarily always challenging something, but they are scrutinising members working with officers in particular areas. 3.8 of the report sets out some administrative changes to the Constitution. These are largely minor in nature, just clarifying that the Standards and Resources Committee terms of reference includes a specific responsibility for that committee to agree new or significant amendments to HR policies. It was implicit, but we feel it's better to make it explicit. The Personal Development Review and Appointments Panel, again, a minor clarification to the terms of reference there, making it clear that 2 independent persons have to sit on that panel if considering any special severance payments. A minor change, just picking up on some recent decisions made by Cabinet that need to be reflected in the Constitution. So they're already agreed decisions, but just seeking authority to incorporate those into the Constitution. And then link back to the earlier point around reduction in committee memberships. There are some subsequent changes as a result of the reduction from 49 to 42 members that need to be picked up in the Constitution. So again, it will just be picking up those administrative changes and taking those through throughout the Constitution. We are also proposing a change to the standard report format. Again, very minor in nature, and it's set out in Appendix 4 to your papers, members, just clarifying some of the issues that should be before members in that report. Moving on to 3.9 and changes to procurement rules, again proposing some minor changes to the thresholds around procurement, so increasing the lower threshold from 500 to 1,000. As some members may recall, 3 or 4 years ago it was 1,000. We reduced it down to 500 that has caused some practical difficulties, particularly in light of inflation, that it's felt it's better to go back to the 1,000 threshold without causing any significant impact on the procurement rules. There would be a consequent also uplift in the intermediate value contracts from 25,000 to 30,000, again largely due to inflationary pressures and upping prices generally. A further exemption to the procurement rules around HR consultancy and training services. There's already an exemption in there that if we are seeking to obtain legal advice and we want to go to a particular barrister, for example, we are not required to necessarily obtain 3 quotes. We still try to whenever possible, but on occasion, due to urgency or specialism, we may need to go to a particular well-known person, and it's suggested that is extended to HR consultancy and training services as well. Finally, members, in respect of the proposed changes is the inclusion of the or the adoption of the Islamophobia definition. As members will be aware, the current constitution includes the definition of anti-Semitism. We're proposing that the definition of Islamophobia is also adopted by this council, but we would, if that is approved, we would take that out of the constitution and we would incorporate that into our policies and procedures to make sure that it was embedded across the council. So the recommendation is that the revised constitution be adopted by council and replace all previous versions of the constitution. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mrs. Fowkes. Do we have a proposer for this?
Yes, Madam Chairman. I would like to propose the Council agrees the annual review of the Constitution.
Do we have a seconder?
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to second that, Chairman.
Are there any questions? Does anyone else wish to speak? Is it your wish that this recommendation is carried? Those in favour, can I have a show of hands, please? Yeah, that's unanimous. Thank you all very much. The recommendation is approved. Item 9, report of the monitoring officer regarding political balance. Can I pass to the monitoring officer, Mrs. Fowkes?
Thank you again, Madam Chairman. So again, usual report at the annual general meeting. So post-election, setting out the political balance. As members are well aware, that all 8 elections took place on the 4th of May, resulting in the electorate at 4.1 of your report. The provisions of the Local Government and Housing Act 1989 require that we follow certain rules when setting political balance. Again, they are set out in the report on paragraph 4.3. That results in the political share as set out in 4.4, with the Conservatives having 69%, the Independent Group having 11.9, Liberal Democrat Group 9.5, Green Group 4.8 and the Labour Group 4.8. So the proposed allocation is set out in 4.7 of your report, members, and that allocates across each of the committees and each of the groups and accords with those rules around political balance. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mrs. Fowkes. Do we have a proposer?
Yes, Madam Chairman. I would like to propose Council accept the political balance report.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
Thank you. I'd like to second that, please.
Thank you. Are there any questions? And does anyone else wish to speak? No? Is it your wish that the recommendation is carried? Those in favour, can I have a show of hands, please? A unanimous decision, the recommendation is approved. Fine. Item 10. Is it 10? We will now go through the appointments to each committee and other positions from items 10 to 29. I will take all of the committee appointments together as one vote unless any member objects and asks for a particular item to be considered separately. I will ask if you agree to the recommendations before you for the membership and the appointment of chair and vice chair to all of the committees, etc. Can I refer you to the gold nomination sheet, which details the proposed appointments, including the recommendations of the Conservative, South Staffordshire Independents, Liberal Democrats, Green and Labour groups. Do we have a proposer?
Yes, Madam Chairman. I would like to propose Council approve the nominations on the gold sheet.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to second that.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Does anyone else wish to speak? Is it your wish that recommendations for appointments in respect of items 10 to 29 are carried? Those in favour, can I have a show of hands, please? It is unanimous decision and the appointments and nominations are approved. Item 30. We are getting down all this paperwork, I can assure you. There is a nice buffet waiting for you at the end. I will just let you into a secret, so we're okay. Just bear with me. Can we now turn to the approval of the calendar of meetings? Can I pass to the monitoring officer? Thank you, Mrs. Sparks.
Thank you. So as you'll know, members, there was a slight amendment to the calendar of meetings. So the one that was in the original pack has been replaced with an alternative, which was emailed out to members on Friday and is also available on the website as a meeting document. The only change from the previously published version in respect to the dates of licensing and regulatory committee, it was necessary to change them back to the originally proposed Thursday dates. So apologies for any confusion, but it is that second version of the calendar that we are seeking approval of this evening. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Do we have a proposer?
Yes, Madam Chairman. I'd like to propose a calendar of meeting dates are approved.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to second that, Chairman.
Are there any questions? Is it your wish that the calendar of meetings is approved? Can you just say aye? You don't need to put your hands up this time. Aye. Thank you. Item 31. Treasury Management Strategy. I have agreed to the withdrawal of this item from the agenda. Can I pass to Mr. Shakespeare to explain the circumstances and the reasons? Thank you, Mr. Shakespeare.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and good evening, members. I can confirm at the last meeting of the Audit and Risk Committee, the 2023-24 Treasury Management Strategy was scrutinised and was approved for presentation to you this evening. However, due to an administration error, the wrong version of that Treasury Management Strategy was included within your pack for this evening. So we will circulate the correct version and we'll discuss it at the next full council in a month's time.
Thank you, Mr. Shakespeare. Item 32. Are there any questions pursuant to Rule 11.4, Mr. Hayward?
There are none, Madam Chairman.
Item 33. Before I give my chairman's announcements, we'll now do a short presentation for those councillors who retired in the last election. Can I ask the following former members to come forward, please? One at a time, not all together. Mr. Len Bates. Nigel Payne. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Joe Chapman. Matt Ewart. Lynn Hingley. Steve Hollis. B. Jackson. Janet Johnson. Mike Lawrence. Dave Lockley. Terry Mason. Christine Raven. John Craven. Ian Sadler. Bob Spencer. And Henry Williams.
Thank you, everyone. All of those who had the certificates today, we shall miss every one of you. And thank you for all your hard work. It's been a pleasure the last 4 years working with you, and longer for some of you. Thank you all very much. Right, my, what shall I say, my fundraising this coming year, I would like to let everyone know that it's for motor neurone disease. I, unfortunately, had the privilege of being very close to a person who had this disease, my brother-in-law, and certainly for 4 years, he suffered dreadfully with this disease, and there was absolutely nothing that could be done to help him. And I would like to think that we all here can make a little bit of difference to that organisation, which hopefully one day will be able to find a cure for this horrible, debilitating disease. So I would appreciate all of your help with the fundraising and everything else, so that we can at least put our little bit of a contribution to making people better. Civic Sunday to all the members. Civic Sunday this year for myself will be on the 23rd of July. And we'll be holding it again at the Wergs Golf Club, where we held it the last year for Matt. It was very popular and it was very well presented by the Wergs Golf Club. We had a lovely meal. So hopefully you'll all join me. Okay, and also I would just like to say a big thank you to all of the staff here who work tirelessly for all of us. They're always at the end of the phone. We come in, we see them. They're always very pleasant with us, even when we're frustrated and if we can't get the answers we want straight away. Thank you all for putting up with us, councillors, and certainly to the corporation leaders. I'm constantly harassing Dave and Lorraine, and I'm sure you all will be as well. So, keep up the good work with them. That's what they're here for. Thank you all very much. Yeah. I think that's about all. We've gone through sheets and sheets of paper. I'll close the meeting this evening at 8:10.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Before you stand, could I just ask members to sign the attendance book, those who haven't, please? And as members leave the chamber this evening, can I ask you to do so through the door to my right so the chairman, vice chairman and their consorts can formally receive you as members with your guests. So thank you. And so could I ask you now to please stand whilst the chairman and vice chairman leave the chamber? Thank you.